I've got my chat window, but not on screen because things could get a little interesting with the words coming out of my mouth. Open that. Oh boy, 100 monkey money, yay. It's time to talk a little bit about Twitch. And this part I'm probably going to reiterate a few times if people ask about it. I am choosing to stream today not in defiance with the people who are choosing to boycott. In support. I know, that's crazy on his face, but listen. I don't have any ads. Well, if I do, I don't make any money, and Twitch doesn't make any money. Alright? My streams cost Twitch money. They have to host them. They have to hold on to the VODs. They have to support me if I ask for help. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not partner or affiliate or anything. Me streaming costs them money. Technically, I just left this on and you stared at my chair for 24 hours, I'd be supporting. But also because there are a few things that, well, important messages I think that Twitch could use to hear. And not just from me, but reiterated from anyone watching. Plus, I'd like to learn more about the issues at hand as well, because some of my first assumptions are incorrect. Events, no. Collection. Okay. So, let's talk about it. You see, today, many big names on Twitch are taking the day off because we found that Twitch has been less than helpful. Alternate balloon rounds? Alright. Have been less than helpful. One of the big points that's getting news coverage today about it is what are called hate raids, where a large influx of users, probably a lot of bots involved, will show up to a channel and just be absolute dinguses. You know, racism, sexism. If I had to put Vegas odds on it, probably more sexism than racism. Homophobia. Terrible, terrible things that they bring to the table for these creators. And they just come in and they rip and tear and drop slurs. That is crappy. Hello, Shane. Talking about Twitch being a bit of a problem for people today. Not on a technical side, but a societal side. Anyway, these bots and people will come in and just say and do terrible things in chats. That sucks. And there should be a lot of things in place to fix that. I don't want to even pretend to deny such a thing. Alright? That needs to be fixed. But then the question is, what do we do about... Let's start with hate raids, since that's at the top of my mind. What do we do about that? Now, in a perfect world, there's no bots getting through the sign-up process. Clearly that is not the case, however. So, if we accept that... Of course, they're all camo. If we accept that bots have to get through, and there's nothing we can do about it, well, what if it was harder to post? This could be something as easy as integrating like no captcha or watching behaviors. Alright. So, one of the avenues we could look at is making sure that bots can't post. But hey, let's say that's impossible. Well, one of the big issues is they're posting incredibly hateful things. Terrible slurs, insults, calls to violence, and so on and so forth. Things that are not tolerable in polite society, let alone the internet. Well, here's a secret about Twitch that you probably know if you've ever tried to create a video even once. The chat filter is really crappy. Like, really, really crappy. We want it to be good. I say we like I have any influence on Twitch. They want it to be good, but it isn't. It sucks. And the worst part is it catches a lot of really legitimate things that are certainly not slurs in North America and probably aren't slurs worldwide. But, it happens. It catches a lot more legit things than it blocks bad things. I run my chat most of the time with no filter at all, sometimes with like a level 1 filter. And even in those situations, I still have to manually moderate comments that get caught up in the filter despite having nothing wrong with them. But that's the opposite of the problem that people are experiencing. Horrendous, evil words get through. Well then, why is that? Are there really clever spelling tricks people use? I mean, it's 2021. I'm sure we have word filters that know when someone replaces the number 1 with the letter I, or vice versa. So that can't be it. Right? No, that's probably it. But hey, interesting thing, Twitch is owned by Amazon. And let me tell you, AI anti-bots only work. Shane asks in chat, why isn't Twitch using AI anti-bots? They only work wherever they're deployed. You can't really set an AI at the sign-up page. I mean, you can set some checks. Like, Google's no CAPTCHA is really clever. Fun fact, many websites you go to where you fill out things and you don't have that CAPTCHA of like, oh, click on all the buses to continue. Most of them actually run CAPTCHA in the background that just tracks your mouse movements to see if they're erratic and how fast you can fill out a form and stuff like that to figure out if you're a bot. It's very Emperor's New Clothes, but at the end of the day, it does work pretty well. I don't know if they'd be willing to share that technology with Amazon, but, the point is that, there was a point, I promise. The point is that it's very possible to put such things into place, but you can't really do it on sign up for Twitch, especially with the integration to Amazon. What you can do, though, is make it a lot more prominent in the chat. Because if you have someone dropping a message every 0.2 seconds, odds are they aren't typing it manually, and that should be really easy to catch. Heck, here's a fun example. Anyone who's watched my streams probably see those advertisements of, oh, click here to buy followers. Those have been coming up since I started, and probably for everyone forever. Because, buying influence is a really lucrative market. Twitch hasn't been able to figure out those, but that's because it's not looking. They're really common. They always use the same wording, the same tricks to mask the URL. It's always exactly the same. I mostly prevent them by just having a couple word filters manually set up. And if some schmuck like me can figure that out, why isn't Twitch employing that in the chat? That's important. If you want to stop harassment, make it impossible. In chat they say it's almost as if Twitch doesn't care. Maybe? Because here's the part that really conflicts me. Twitch makes a big deal out of pretending to care. Like, when you go live on Twitch, there are a lot of tags you can pick from. Some that seem completely superfluous. And tags are an important part of this question as well. I'll get to that shortly. But there are a lot of tags you can pick from. Like, I could lie and say that I am a physically disabled Nigerian streamer who operates on the autistic spectrum and is genderqueer. Most of those aren't true, but I can add all those tags. Twitch has tags for everything, so you can sort through and pick who you want to support. And that's beautiful. Choice is great. So they clearly care a little bit, at least enough to be visibly strong. And let me tell you, the things they do check for in chat are ridiculously strict. It's nuts. Like, I'm trying to think of an example here that won't get me banned for saying it out loud. That's the tricky part, because they are super strict. But even incredibly modern slang for many things will be picked up by the Twitch chat. Moderation, automation, whatever you call it. So clearly they're able to catch a lot of things. These are things they intentionally added in. In fact, there are a lot of things that will trigger chat issues that aren't insulting, that are actually making fun of the least marginalized people in the world. And even then, really even making fun of them. But I'm not going to say them because I'd get banned. Alright? So that works. In fact, I would wager 3-to-1 odds that they probably monitor verbal and audio as well. Alright, so that's cool. Set this one to last. But that doesn't matter, because that's not where the problem's been lying. Let's take a physical example. Let's say I started a restaurant, and I put up a big sign that said, "No velociraptors allowed." Alright? And I even kicked out anyone who dressed up like a velociraptor, or made a noise like a velociraptor. Okay, velociraptors are probably not part of a good dining experience. All the other patrons, would probably not enjoy having a velociraptor running around the restaurant. Cool, we can all agree on that. But, at the end of the day, there's no velociraptors coming into the restaurant in the first place. Velociraptors don't exist in our modern world. The closest thing we have is chickens. Alright? And that's a science fact. You have to deal with the fact that chickens are technically dinosaurs. I don't like it either, but that's how the rules work. Okay, so, at most, you ban anyone who eats chicken and orders it from your restaurant. Good job, no velociraptors. But if people come in and rob the place, it wasn't the velociraptors that were the problem, was it? No. Which I know is a convoluted explanation, but I can't use the example words because then I'll sound like a velociraptor and get kicked out of the Twitch restaurant. But hey, let's put it a different way. Or simplify it, rather. Simplify it. Twitch makes a big deal about caring about the things that no one complained about in the first place, but looks good in a press release. So it's very clear they have the technology, and they're just choosing not to use it. And it doesn't even have to be an... Gonna have to explain later because you want a chicken and a pet velociraptor. A chicken is a pet velociraptor. Although it would probably eat other chickens. No, like I was saying with the tags, Twitch has an enormous array of tags for all different races, sexes, nationalities, creeds, everything. And that's super. But then they accidentally made a double-edged sword with that. Because if you put a tag on that says you're part of LGBTQ, someone can search for LGBTQ, and so on and so forth. The acronym, I don't know exactly which one Twitch uses now. If it includes A, if it includes plus, if it includes I don't know exactly. I haven't surfed through the tags today. But you use that, you make yourself a target. And they didn't make any plan for that whatsoever. Alright? There are people out there who will just hate you for being different. And that sucks. But then Twitch decided to make it easier for them to find you. I mean, the idea is for good people to be able to find you. Super. But bad people use things that are meant for good. And it sucks that that's true, but boy is it true. Yeah, I'll put the Magic Monkey here. I like Magic Monkey. Camouflage is the bottom path. Okay. So, yeah, I mean... if you make a wheelchair ramp, that's great. If you make a wheelchair ramp that's really steep, and say, everyone with wheelchairs, please come to this ramp, odds are when you're not looking, some dick is going to stand at the top, pushing people back down the ramp. Gotta be careful, you can't do things halfway. So, Twitch made it easier for bad people to do bad things. Alright, let's pretend they meant well. That means the tags aren't really doing a lot of good. And even if they are, clearly the harm is high enough that what good they're doing doesn't matter. So maybe they have to rethink the tag system. Hello, Eggum Regit. I am ranting about Twitch right now, because a lot of people have taken the day off of Twitch in support of fellow creators. I, however, being a tiny channel, actually cost Twitch money by existing, so I'm staying on and ranting about it for future generations to know about. Anyway, my point so far has been that Twitch has the technology to do good things to help people, and they're choosing not to use it. But these hate raids are only one part of the problem. And in the graphic going around on social media about what Twitch can do to help, there's some suggestions about it, but I don't think they're actually as thought through as people are giving them credit for. Take, for instance, the idea of having a certain age for an account to be able to chat. As in not like the person's age, but the the account has to exist for more than 3 seconds. Oh. A message in chat. To be honest, I think it's BS it exists. As for me on Twitch, I doubt a tiny little me would do much if I stopped for one day, and I can't really see it doing much. I like to look at things in a monetary point of view for Twitch and technically Amazon. As I said, I don't have subscribers. I have no way for people to pay me. And I'm pretty sure there's no ads running on my channel right now. So every second I'm online, I'm costing Amazon money, not making a cent for them. So for me, I'm hurting them by being here, and that's me showing my support. Now, small channels like us being offline don't really matter to Twitch that much, which is dumpy, but it's true. Now, there are some very big channels that have taken the day off, and I think that's going to matter a lot. For instance, Games Done Quick took the day off. And they're usually streaming constantly, like 24 hours, but they took the day off. And that is probably one of the biggest channels on Twitch. I think XQC took the day off, and while personally, I think that man is not a very good person at all, and has caused a lot of trouble, he is supportive of Twitch streamers, and being part of the day off is good, because he pulls in a ton of viewers. In chat, we have, especially if they're owned by Amazon, they're not exactly hurting for money. That's true. Amazon's not hurting for money. Although that makes the interesting point. If Amazon wasn't making money off of Twitch, well, they'd get rid of Twitch. Microsoft can tell you that about Mixer, formerly Beam. Rest in peace. But it is true. Another one of my concerns there, though, is... Oh, I could put up a spike factory. That would be good. Yeah, let's put up Mr. Explodiness here, though. Where was I going with that? Don't worry, it'll come back to me in just a second. In chat, we have... I've just never seen any of those. We're taking a day off in protest. Things ever do anything? True. There's a couple that have in the past. Most fizzle. For instance, the Day Without a Woman that happened a few years back. Noble cause, but the only people who actually took the day off were the ones who were very barely oppressed to begin with. Most people who were suffering at their jobs had to keep going in. The infrastructure jobs were not neglected that day. No one really noticed, which was dumpy. I mean, if a journalist takes a day off, you just have a day where you don't hear about how crappy the world is. That doesn't matter. But on the flip side, the internet blackout that happened like 10 years ago in protest of SOPA, whatever it was, that had huge impact and stopped the legislation in its tracks. And that mattered. That mattered a lot. So hey, they do matter sometimes. On Twitch, I think big enough people have taken the day off that it will matter a bit. I mean, let's take our favorite streamer here, Seabug, Bray. He took the day off, I'm pretty sure. He's been very supportive of it. And you just watch one of his streams and he pulls in like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, which Twitch gets like a 20% cutoff. That's big money. You know what? I think he makes more than that with the gifted subscriptions and more. There's a lot you don't actually see in the YouTube videos after. He has, like, pre-video things with a hype train where people bring in tons of money. Whatever. Anyway. That's there. So big names are taking the day off, which will help. But I'm worried that we're not quite dealing with root problems as much as we're pitching solutions to immediate issues. For instance, one thing they're asking for is like, hey, could you make it so that there's a limit to the amount of accounts that can be created under a single email address? Well, that's not really practical because fake email addresses are really easy to make. In fact, you can do it in Gmail as many times as you want. Fun fact, if your email in Gmail includes a plus sign, you could have like 1 billion of them and then just filter out everything that goes to the one with the plus sign or something like that. You can make fake names in Gmail. In chat they say, there's also sites you can go to and get disposable emails. Also true. So limiting to email wouldn't help a whole lot. And it would actually hurt, not here, but in Asian countries, particularly Korea and China, where PC cafes are very popular. That would hurt because a lot of that is shared access. So that's no good. I mean, I get where the idea comes from. If you can prevent multiple people from signing up at the same time really quickly, cool. That'll probably reduce people being bad actors. But it's one of those things that bad people will get around it, good people will be left out. But hate raids aren't the only issue. I mean, it's one of the main issues, but there are also worse things happening. Take, for instance, when you create a Twitch account, you have to give up some of your personal information, especially if you want to get paid. Now, you can absolutely believe, if you want to, that Amazon's going to keep that information safe and secret. You'd be incorrect. Aside from being available to any law enforcement request, legitimate or otherwise, it can also be sold in bulk. Now, I don't think Amazon makes a lot of money doing this, so generally they don't. But you can buy it. Oh, in chat we have Seabug. If you believe that, you have a unicorn to sell you. Yeah. That information can be bought and sold, and you just filter it through a few extra third parties, launder some information, and it becomes surprisingly legal for anyone to buy it. Kind of dumpy, but that's how it goes. Well, what do you do about that then? You have to give that information. And I assume, I do not know this for a fact, but it works this way for a lot of other things under the Amazon brand. If you make it a partner, you need to give up your home address. And thanks to some wonderful laws in the European Union, you don't really get to use a post office box for that either. Which brings me to home addresses and whatnot. One of the worst things that happens on Twitch, it happens in general to a lot of people for bad reasons, but to popular Twitch people via disgruntled fans or just general jokers who are absolute dinguses, is swatting. And here's the worst part of it. People don't really have to dig that far to get your home address. And really, Amazon aids in that more than they prevent it. And that should be a big deal. Your home address should be something that you should never, ever, ever, ever have to give to a company that isn't coming to visit you to throw a party. And even then, you shouldn't give it to them. But you gotta. You gotta do it. You give them your address or you don't get paid when you're big enough. And if they have that information, they can give it to whoever's willing to buy it. So perhaps if Twitch and Amazon want to take this a bit more seriously, they'd be more willing to keep that information private. Even if that means having to be a little mean to use your thinker box here, Aaron. Law enforcement agencies, which is a really difficult line to tread. But it's important. If you care about safety, you gotta do what you can to keep people safe. So, to reiterate, Twitch has the technology to do good things to help people, and they're choosing not to use it. But also, we as individuals have to push for change that really drill down to the root of the issues. Putting up a fancy shield or two, or some wait timers to make it so it's harder for people to harass you in chat is good, but it's not a silver bullet. I mean, at that point, it's just building a wall. And a wall only keeps out people who are, not willing to bring a ladder. I use that example entirely unironically. Which I know sounds redonkulous. But it does follow the same principles. If you make it harder to do something, you just bring more focus to the people who are willing to work hard to do that. And I don't know how to put it. I know this is like an old conservative fallacy that is never fun to say, blah, 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 if you make something illegal, only criminals will do it. But if you make something possible, alright, if it's possible to do something really evil, but it's against the rules, all you've done is make it a little less likely. But if you have the option to make it impossible, make it impossible. And they do. For an example of what they could do to stop, let's go back to hate raids. If they want to prevent that, they'd expand the use of their word filter. Like, that's basically it. With how sensitive it is to other terms, like non-racial slurs, to terms that are generally innocuous, then why isn't it picking up loads of people using racial slurs? And here's another thing. Like, check this out. If 70 people suddenly show up in your chat, and they all call you terrible, terrible names, almost simultaneously, shouldn't that itself be a red flag? Like, it doesn't take a lot of computing power to go, wow, 70 people showed up and started calling me the N-word. Perhaps they're all associated with each other. Maybe they came from the same place. And just, like, drop it out, wait a few minutes, and then maybe the moderators of the chat could look through it and see what happened. But that's not what we're doing, apparently. Let's see here. You know what? Let's go with an alchemist monkey to really do some weird stuff here. Yeah, acid. So I support the people who have taken the day off of Twitch today. I think they made a very good choice, especially the bigger people who bring in a legitimate profit in the world of Twitch. Big names like GDQ and XQC and Ray and whatnot. They're doing good things. And I support this by hurting Amazon by costing them hosting money and space and time, where I'm bringing in literally no revenue for them. That's my plan. And if you're watching this on YouTube in the distant year of like 2029 or something, I don't know. Well, then I'm supporting their competitors. Which reminds me, today was also a big day for people switching away from streaming on Twitch. Oh, apparently I'm having trouble with this level. For example, one of the biggest names on Twitch used to be an Overwatch streamer, now mostly streams like Warzone, I think. Tim the Tat Man. He got a big bonus to head over to YouTube Gaming. You know what? And good for him. He's a funny guy. Enjoyable to watch. Despite how many fights XQC may pick with him. Alright? That means Twitch lost a big, big name today. But I will say, YouTube Gaming, not particularly better. Well, not much better. Better enough. Because no matter how much we want to pick on Google and YouTube for being blah blah blah, a cesspool of evil and whatnot, they make very positive strides to stifle really hateful things. They're not perfect, but they work a lot harder on it. Also, Google's AI offerings are just head and shoulders above everything else. That's one of the only companies where you can say that AI is going to do something useful. Anyway. So Twitch is losing out today. I think one of the biggest things Twitch could do is have better support. I haven't had to deal with them personally because there's nothing I've accomplished that matters enough. But support for Twitch is super opaque, super difficult to reach, and as a whole, they really don't care. I mean, I'd be surprised if more than 3 people work in Twitch support at all. You can hardly get any information from their social media. They have a incredibly strict no return or refund policy, despite Amazon being immaculate in that case. Like, have you ever actually exercised an A to Z guarantee on Amazon? Beautiful. But Twitch, nothing. You buy something with a stolen credit card on Twitch, you are getting away with it. I don't advocate for crime, but it is true. There's nothing they're going to do about it. which is a shame. About the A to Z guarantee, yes, and it was a pain with the company I bought through. Well, anything that gets fulfilled by Amazon, regardless of the company it sells through, Amazon will reimburse you. It's like, you wait 2 days, you bring it up with them, they'll reach out to the company. If they can't get anything done, they'll pay you back. Now, if it's not fulfilled by Amazon, you're SOL, which is dumpy. Let's put this guy here. I remember the cutlery set. Yeah, I can't remember if that was fulfilled through Amazon, but if it was, we should try again. But yeah, A to Z guarantee, great. And Amazon owns Twitch. You'd think they'd unify the policy a little more. And Amazon's customer service, my experiences have been good. Some other people's haven't been very good. But they're always present. You can get help at Amazon. Oh yeah, that's right. The cutlery set that Seabug was talking about in chat. We ordered 3 sets to make like a big set, and they sent us 1, and it was not great. If I recall correctly, that wasn't fulfilled by Amazon though. It was blah 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 fulfilled by a third company. If that was fulfilled by Amazon, we'd have all our money back. Amazon, we didn't even need proof of non-delivery. They refunded everything. That's true. But no, if you try and reach Amazon, you'll usually get to them. Whether it's through chat or you send in a support ticket or what have you, you can reach Amazon. That is swell. Hello, person in chat, Catarol. Nice to talk to you. I'm here ranting on Twitch. About Twitch. But, where was I? Oh yeah, Twitch's support? Nowhere. Twitch's support is nowhere when you need them, and even less present when you're looking. Oh, stuff it, game. I was doing fine. Yes, restart. Yep. Apocalypse. Let's do this. And it's so weird. I mean, Twitch individually may not make as much money for Amazon as Amazon makes for Amazon. They probably don't make as much money as Amazon's bookstores. They probably don't make as much money as Amazon's web services. In fact, Twitch may be the least profitable part of Amazon as a whole. But they're still part of Amazon. And as such, they should be held to the same standards as Amazon. At least by Amazon. So if Amazon really wanted to help, they'd shift in a few more support workers for it. So that way you could deal with malicious account bans, for example. Here's a fun one, and I don't know if I'll get in trouble for explaining that this is possible, but I'll toss it out here. If your channel is offline, you're still responsible for the messages in chat. So if someone comes in and says a whole lot of really crappy things, and then they report you, the same person, by the way, they can be the same username, they report you to Twitch for letting such crappy things being in the chat, you're in trouble. And that's something you have to remember about any stronger rules you want to put in place on the internet. Rules and punishment work both ways, and those who want to hurt you with them, oh, they'll do it. They will find a way and they will run. Which is awful. But it's true. So let's say you push for the idea of no warning bans that are automated. That'd be a great way to prevent people from saying really nasty things. But then what if you got reported for something someone else said? Or something you said that didn't seem that bad? What if you're a big streamer and that happens? You're going to lose a few days worth of revenue. That's a big problem. So suddenly this rule that was going to help just hurt you. And the people that want to hurt you, they laugh and they laugh and they live happily ever after because there's no repercussions for them. They were doing a good job in reporting the meanie. The meanie who let they themselves say the bad things in chat. So you always have to walk a fine line with rules. And punishments and automation and whatnot. Moderation is hard at scale. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying. Which, loops us back around to the question, what do you do about hate raids? Well, one important thing is make chat not active when you're offline. Why that exists, I have no idea. Who thought, if everyone could talk while your stream's offline, I'm sure that'll be great. That's terrible. Or even just have it opt in. Oh, this apocalypse is tough, but that's alright. Let's go with... let's go with this guy. But hey, let's talk more about hate raids a little bit. Because I had to spend a bit of time. Oh, message in chat. I won't lie, I've used that on a streamer you watch. You've chatted while they're offline. Yeah, it can't be that useful. And even if it is, I don't know, maybe just make it easier to have a Discord link in your description. Yeah, that's different. You were there to cause giggles rather than trouble. But you can go into an offline chat and cause a lot of trouble. But yeah, hate raids, alright? Hate raids. Let's say that you can't really stop them before they happen because you'd be invading another space. But you also can't stop them, or if you wait until after they happen, then the harm's already done, especially if you take a while to do anything about it. So the key to it is to make it so they can't happen. And how do you stop them from happening? You take away the things that enable them. And take away... I thought I set that guy to last. you take away posting from a bunch of people saying the same thing at the same time. Like I said, if 70 people, 100 people, 1,000 people jump into your chat and start shouting the N-word, odds are, very reliably, they all came from the same place. Alright, so as soon as you start seeing that come in, you block those people, and any chat message that's even similar, you block. Maybe even just shut down chat for a couple minutes. At the discretion, of course, of the person running this channel. That'd be a great way to deal with it. Like some sort of hate raid protection. As soon as it starts to look bad, you pull the plug, wait a few minutes, and I don't know, get your mods running in overdrive. And hey, maybe have the option to opt out of such protection. Cool. No one's really asking for anything of that type, though, which is unfortunate. And I think should absolutely be considered. Then, of course, tags being the double-edged sword that they are. Once again, let's say I have a tag that's, I don't know, gonna BRB? Come and go as you please, chat. I love it when you talk. I love it when you listen. Showing a friend a game you got for free? Cool. Where was I? Yeah. Tags are a double-edged sword because they allow bad actors to single out people they want to harass. Well, maybe it's time to turn that against the bad actors too. Now, there are some really complicated ways to do this, but the short version that I like to relate to a technical term is to use what's called a honeypot, where you set up a tag that would be for marginalized people, let's say. Alright, people of color, people of certain orientations, and so on and so forth. But you make it a little different. Maybe it's at the top of the list because there's an invisible character in the name. Or maybe you do a little research and figure out what the hateful flavor of the month is. Okay. And then you research, you figure out what's going to drive bot traffic to it, and you turn it into a black hole. So let's say that we put a tag on Twitch that's LGBTQAI2+. I really apologize that I don't know the exact order for that. The queer community evolves very rapidly, and I could do more to learn about how it's going. Anyway, let's say we put a new tag in for the queer community. But you make it invisible to people who are streaming so they can't select it. And it's only visible on search for people looking for streams. But there's something that a human can see about it that's not quite right. Maybe the letters are in an weird order. Perhaps it's something like maybe the font color's a bit different. I don't know exactly. Something that a human would see a robot wouldn't, because there's still a lot of that in the world. The inconsistent enforcement of chat filtering, it makes that very clear that there's a lot of things a human can see a robot can't. Anyway. And you just have that set to go nowhere. Or maybe to a chat box that seems legit, but is not attached to any channel. Okay? Because that does two things for you. One, keeps the harassment away from people who do not deserve to be harassed. And 2, it helps you collect data to better implement future AI, honeypot, etc. If you're following me on this, essentially, herd all the trolls, or as many as you can, into a corral. And in that corral, there's nothing they can do to hurt people, and you learn what you can to hurt them. That's a honeypot. It's bait. It's a trick. And yes, eventually the people who operate these bots will figure it out. But you'll find out when they figure it out, and then you step up. And it's an arms race about... it's a racist arms race, alright? But you're still helping a whole lot, and it doesn't take a lot of work to start a honeypot. Heck, I'll give you an example. Whenever I run a comment section that I have control over, by the way, which unfortunately does not mean Twitch or YouTube or whatnot, but when I run a comment section that I have control over, I always put a trick category at the bottom. At the very bottom. Many bots and whatnot, for some reason, focus on the bottom category. I think it's because that's usually whatever the miscellaneous is, so it's less monitored. I don't know. But I do something like that. That way, I put this trick category there. And anyone who ends up posting in there, 9 times out of 10, they're a bot. And for the legitimate ones, you interact with them and say, hey, you know, you probably should have filtered it over here, or this is a better place for it. Bots don't know context, but they see the engagement, so they keep doing what they're doing and posting in the crappy trick category. It's win-win-win. And no, it's not a silver bullet that fixes the problem forever. Oh, that is a lot of invisible balloons. Whatever, I can survive that for now. But yeah, it doesn't solve the problem forever, but it does reduce harm by an enormous amount. How would Twitch implement something like that? Like I said, a trick category. Something that bots would fall into, but you, as a human, could see through. Actually, come to think of it, font color might be a good idea. Bots see font color. Humans see font color. And if you had two woman power categories, let's say. One was pink, and one was the regular color. I know that's not terribly progressive. I know that's not progressive having female things associated with pink, but bear with me here. I've got more to say on it. Now, you make the pink one the official category for female empowerment. Neat. You do that, and then what you do is you ever so slightly adjust the pink color. Just a little bit every day to a random value. You could maybe even use decimal points or a different language. You could automate it. It'd be swell. Then, you know exactly where the bots are going because they can't find the pink one. Use a cron. Sure. I mean, Shane in chat says use a cron, but Twitch probably runs off of ASP. So whatever the equivalent is there. And then super duper in-depth tech stuff. Seabug says, be careful when coming to the kitchen. Oh, yeah, that's a personal thing. I should, be careful in the kitchen. Apparently it's wet and slippery and dangerous. Oh. Cool, smells like lemons in the kitchen. I love it. Yeah, let's just take the easy one on this medium road. You know, I like this combination of boomerang and tack shooter. Faster shooting. Let's roll. Oh, Murder definitely could do that. That guy can work his way through ASP surprisingly well. Anyway. A carefully changing code that a human doesn't see and a bot does is a great way to separate bots from humans. And that may be one of the best ways to deal with these hate raids. Better bot protection. And it doesn't have to be an AI. Alright? Maybe one day. And then that'd be super. But just a careful set of rules goes a long way. And Twitch has that technology. Alright? You try and say something relatively innocuous in the chat, and Twitch will usually just light up and block you. Heck, for instance, even on the mildest setting, it'll censor the word, like, poop and put it for moderation. Alright? They've got fantastic technology to worry about TV unsafe words. They just have to adjust it to deal with, you know, racial slurs. And even, let's say, for some reason you want to be a channel where racial slurs are okay, which, I mean, they kind of aren't, but let's say there's an exception for historical documentaries, I don't know. You could still use that same technology to detect when a large amount of people come in saying the same thing. Heck, you could tie it into, like, anti-spam filters. That's really easy. I could do that. I do that. Not in my chat, because I don't have the access to do that, of course. But, like, in personal projects, I can do that. And if I can figure that out, Twitch and Amazon can. And they're choosing not to. Because here's another thing that we may take for granted when it comes to dealing with big companies. Any idea that you or I or your best friend or your dog or whatever has ever had to try and curb problems, they've already thought of and have either decided A, that it costs too much money for the gain, or B, would cause more problems than they solve. And I don't know where a lot of these suggestions stand on that spectrum. But clearly Amazon and Twitch have made the decisions at this time, pending possible changes, not to pursue any options to curb hate raids. They have the technology, and they won't do it. Taking a day off of Twitch, big streamers, are helping. When you hurt a company's bottom line, that's when you make a difference. Now, Amazon is a publicly traded company, and the best way to hurt them is to sell Amazon shares. You're probably not doing that because you don't own any. Let me tell you, if shareholders sold off and just went and bought a whole bunch of Google stock instead, because fun fact, I think Amazon is actually valued higher than Google. So you could sell 3 Amazon stocks and buy 4 Google stocks. Follow me for more investment tips, apparently. If people did that, Amazon would shudder. They would absolutely lose it. They'd do everything in their power to cater to whoever was bringing that in. Taking a day off, not going to help as much. It helps a little, and if everyone who makes money for Twitch does it, it helps a little more. Don't forget, though, that Amazon makes most of their money through book sales and web services still. Even Amazon.com, the service from which you can buy a toaster and have it delivered tomorrow, they make a lot of money of it, but they make a lot more money with really bad book practices and web services. So keep that in mind. The influence of Twitch is limited. Anyway, Amazon is worth more than Google at the moment, yes? Yeah, that's what I figured. I don't know the exact ratio, but Amazon was one of the first companies to hit a valuation over $1 trillion, and Google has not reached that. So assuming they have the same amount of stocks in rotation, individual stocks of Google are worth less than Amazon. So with that in mind, if you want to hurt Amazon, sell Amazon stocks, buy Google stocks, and they'll listen to every word you have to say. Heck, that's how you get Activision to listen to you, and they are notoriously visibly evil. Anyway. Yeah, good point in chat. I am not a professional stock trader. Do not actually take my advice for buying and selling stocks individually. I'm not here to help you make money in the stock market. My point is that stock trading is the most influential way to impact corporate decision making. Alright? And, thanks to things like Robinhood and companies that are less famous but probably easier to use, individuals can participate in stock trading as much as they'd like. Power is in your hands. Heck, remember when everyone bought GameStop's stock and just absolutely screwed with hedge funds? That was fun. Those were neat days. Unfortunately, it ended up causing more trouble for things like retirement funds of hard-working government employees than the hedge funds, because the hedge funds mostly got bailed out. But the point still stands. Stock trading is the greatest influence that an individual can have on any company at any time. So for those of you who came here because your favorite streamer took a day off Twitch, or because you're worried that I may be some sort of contrarian who doesn't support marginalized people, that second one is, I hope, incorrect. I make my donations, I try and lift up voices whenever they're quieter than my own, etc. But my point is, if you want to hurt a company, think about how you're hurting them. Think about it in money. What costs the company money? I'm streaming today because my stream costs Amazon money. It does not make Amazon money. If I'm ever an affiliate or a partner, well, things would be absolutely flip-top upside down, and I would have taken the day off because I could have made money for Amazon and I wouldn't want to. So you gotta think about it in money. I support and envy the people who did take the day off. I feel bad for people who are contractually obligated to stream. Like, heck, let's think about internet darling of the past and confusing rebranding of the current, Rooster Teeth. They're probably streaming today through one of their brands. Because at the end of the day, they're owned by Warner Media. And Warner probably does not give two dusty turds about what's going on. Now, if I'm wrong about this, that'd be super. But they probably do not care. And their individual employees are probably contractually obligated to stream X amount of times per week, with a schedule set ahead of time and revenue targets and so forth. That's dumpy. If you can help it in your life, never sign a contract about anything. Unless it's a contract that exists for the purpose of making sure no one stabs you in the back. Then consider it. Anyway, Rooster Teeth probably has to stream today. And I feel bad for them having to do it. Because that doesn't mean they can't stand in solidarity with the communities that they say they support. That can be a topic for another day, though. But you as an individual, first, thank you for coming to watch me. And thank you for hearing me. I know what I say can sound very counter to the common discourse of what's good for everyone. And you know what? There could be a chance, a pretty good chance, in fact, that I'm wrong about some things. Maybe even wrong about a lot of things. I try my best not to be, but maybe I am. Whatever the case is there, I do want to make a point that if you stand for something, find out the best way you can stand for it. So if you want Twitch to care more about its creators, find out what hurts Twitch the most to make your point. You and I and most of the people watching probably can't trade a lot of stocks, so that's fine. But what can hurt monetarily? Well, wasting their employees' time, going to competitors, or in my personal case, streaming to cost them money. And go Central Path, Rapid Fire. But let's say there's nothing you can do personally to affect them monetarily. Well, you can support the people who do try and affect them monetarily. Or you can help figure out long-term solutions to problems. One of the biggest things about this day off of Twitch has been a graphic going around with suggestions of what Twitch and Amazon can do. There's some good ideas on there. There's some there's at least one that'll fall flat, but it has good intentions. However, that doesn't mean it's the end of the conversation to have that. You individually, or you as a group with others, can help figure out what would help more. What would really bring things together. And if you have an idea to help, you bounce it off of someone else, and they bounce it back to you, and you figure out if it would work or what the downsides are. And then as a community, we keep bashing these ideas together. And when we agree on one that we really want Amazon to follow, or multiple, then we collectively hurt them monetarily. Discuss, discuss, discuss. If you can't spend, then speak. If you can't speak, then spend. If you can't do either, well, you may be one of the marginalized people that are affected by all this. Oh man, I have rambled and ranted so much. Anti-MOAB missiles. That'll be important, especially this round. Bump. Alright, take him down. Cool. Yeah, you don't need me to explain again later? Cool. What do I want to take on next? Haunted? Ooh. Let's go with military. GTA roleplay dev co-host with you tomorrow night, Shane? Maybe. I mean, that depends on... Wait, is this going in both directions? Ew. Well, let's get the boat. I'll consider it. It depends on if... Well, it depends exactly what you want to do. My hacking skills? Sure. I thought you had pretty much everything set up. Or do you just need me to, like, dink around on the server to see how much I can stress test it? Submarine. I mean, I don't mind helping out in general, Shane, but I don't know what I'd contribute that's really stream-worthy. Mind you. Oh, there's a script you need me to look at? Sure, I suppose. You can also just send it to me in, like, email or some chat or something like that, and I could probably look at it on my own time, but I'm glad to help in general, too. And let's see. Faster shooting? Yes. For those in the non-know, Shane in my chat is working for Maritime Gaming, putting together a Grand Theft Auto role-playing server, which has been a big hit recently for many streamers, and I can get it. It's a neat idea. And if there's anyone who can come close in the Maritime Gaming group to competing with Shane on knowledge of computers, I will gladly say it's me. So I'm glad to help out where I can there. I mean, Shane and I used to have very similar job at the same company with a lot of code involved. He's my bud. Shane just flattering me in the chat now. Let's put Sniper Monkey up here in the corner. And set him against Strong. That's usually the best way. Now, believe it or not, my big pasty self went to school for coding. I know, crazy. And I know I downplay myself a lot, but I do truly believe I am a very competent coder. But, as one of my high school teachers told me, and I didn't take them serious at the time, any job for programming is either outsourced or self-managed. So if you want to make it in the world coding, you gotta take charge. Oh yeah, and Shane has a background in building computers and network management and so forth. Whenever he puts together something for maritime gaming, he builds the server himself and hosts it himself, which is outstanding. Most people who do that usually just like buy it from some place online. And, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what I would do. But Shane is really good at what he does. And yeah, I've played on his Minecraft servers in the past. Once again, all self-hosted and managed. Custom-built computers. And sure, you couldn't, like, sell it to 1 million people at the same time. But it works great. Heck, the computer I'm using right now is built by Shane. But yeah, my education, training, etc. is in computer coding, programming. Mostly in Visual Basic, web languages like PHP, and I taught myself C#. Well, to an extent. I taught myself how to use C#. It's not like I can rattle off everything from a dictionary and tell you what it does in C#. And yeah, I've made a game in the past. I mean, a dinky little thing on the Google Play Store, but it exists. I saw it from start to finish and made all the assets myself, and I'm proud of it. I should make another one. Actually, heck, come to think of it, I'm not sure I could do it under the Mario Peace Theater brand. I mean... like us to make it... Shane says in chat, make some custom scripts or take bits from 2 or 3 and make into one. Well, the GTA server thing still uses Lua, and I know enough of that to manipulate it, so probably. Admittedly, I'd probably start with someone else's script and work towards something neat, but I'd absolutely be glad to. There you go, boat. Can be coded with Lua, C++, and Java. Well, I definitely know Lua. I don't know Java. And am constantly shocked when Java still exists and is used consistently. I mean, hats off to Notch for making Minecraft in Java and committing to it for so long. Java is a messy, messy, messy language. It's very effective and can do some great things, but it is messy. Shane says he's learned some Java through Minecraft. That makes sense. I mean, the Bedrock editions and the new editions, I think I'll use C# now, but don't hold me to that. Anyway, and C++, I don't know. You know who knew C++ really well? Who I knew in my life? That would be my mother. Taught programming at the local community college. Genius woman. But no, I probably should learn C++. But for now, I'll say I'm happy with the knowledge I have. But yeah, I'll see what I can do to help you, Shane. I was taking a long way to get to that point. I should incorporate mortar monkeys. Hey, you, where are you aiming at? Alright, that's pretty good. And how about you? You can set a target over here. Boom, boom, boom! Well, this whole tangent about myself. Oh, you're welcome, Shane. Like I said, I'm glad to help where I can. I don't know if I'll be able to help in a way that will be interesting on a stream. I could probably co-host for a little bit if you wanted the banter to work off of. Mind you, I say that I don't even know what it looks like when you stream working on the server, so heck, I could just be missing out on something fantastic. That's true. No matter what it is in the world, no matter how talented you are, two people are always more interesting than one. Wait, which one of these takes me to the signal flare? Ah, bottom path. Okay. Unless the one person is like a Siamese twin, and the two people are like monks with a vow of silence, then I guess the one person is more interesting than the two people. But I'm not sure that's a situation that comes up enough to think about. I mean, how often do monks and Siamese twins even interact in the world? Probably not a lot. Oh, that looks good. Alright, that's good, that's good. Around 39. There's a lot more in the world since I last seen it. Cool. But yeah, I can help out. I think I've got a good idea on how those menus pop up with Lua. Once I get the hang of it, I can probably put in a couple custom jobs with you handling a lot of the database entry for it. If that's what you have in mind. I mean, to make the jobs interesting, I don't know what I'd do, but I could probably help make them work. What do I want to do here? Independent large cannon? Sure. Hunting script? Hunting, like aminals or other players? Because there aren't a lot of wild animals that, oh, deer, huh? Alright. Apparently you can have deer roaming around Los Santos. Alright, let's take down this Moab. Up in the hills area. Alright. Oh, I made this a 60 rounder. Oh, yeah, this is medium difficulty. Erps. Forgot about that. Well, let's add in another submarine. But this one will have different priorities. I should get back on topic of Twitch for a little bit. I want to say that if you or someone you know is part of these harassment campaigns on Twitch, ask them what's up. I'm not going to tell you to try and stop them, because while that would be a great thing to do, generally groups that like to cause trouble react completely differently to a request to stop. They're very reverse psychology. You know, this isn't Dora the Explorer. You don't go, oh, swiper, no swiping, and they stop stealing. No. They just get more enthusiastic about doing it. So don't try and stop them specifically. But if you know someone who is into causing this trouble, ask them about it. Ask them maybe why, or how'd they start. Heck, maybe even ask them where they organize. Oh, who knows, maybe you can rip it apart from the inside. But engage with people who cause trouble. As long as you keep in sight not to cause trouble yourself, of course. That's a very important rule in all this. And as well as find out what their point of view is on all that. Because that's a very funny thing about dealing with very, very bad people. When you find out why they're doing bad things, you find out more about how to stop it. And even more importantly, you find out... Well, no, you don't find out. They find out they should probably stop. I don't know if there's a psychiatric term for it, or maybe just a fancy German word. Because, small tangent, the German language allows you to be very in touch with your feelings. It's surprising given Germanic history. Anyway, when someone has to explain themselves, or even just tries to casually, for when they're doing something very bad, they're more willing to give it up. Now, you have to do this tactfully. You don't just go and, oh, explain yourself. Why are you so mean to people? But if you come in casual and you ask them, and the exact words vary from person to person, something like, hey man, is this really that fun to you? Or, why'd you start doing this? Or even something as innocuous as, oh man, I had it on the tip of my tongue, too. Something as innocuous as, how many people do this with you? Or are you a lone wolf? You know, if for nothing else, the more you know your enemy, the easier it is to take them down. So yeah, if you know anyone or know any communities that are causing all this trouble on Twitch, maybe you can help them rot from the inside a little bit. And that could have some really powerful consequences in the long run. Oh man, these sniper monkeys are doing work. Heck, I'll cough up a fact. In my younger days, I had been part of communities that definitely caused some trouble. Did I individually cause any trouble? Not directly, but by not trying to stop them, I indirectly may have contributed. When you're young, you don't look back a whole lot. But on my own, I came to a realization that what I was doing was neither benefiting me nor the people I was in a community with. And also, that community was causing harm. So I found that out myself. But I still watch those communities. In fact, I still contribute in a way that I go, hey, why you being a dingus? Although usually in more in-speak, rather than trying to come in as some sort of fancy moderator. Anyway. The point is, helping people realize they're being a jerk by letting them come to that conclusion themselves is an amazing way to solve a problem. My word. And sure, it requires tact, but if you can get that realization to click in someone, it changes everything. So hey, maybe this whole Twitch thing, there's two fronts to it. Amazon and Twitch can absolutely do more. And when I say can, they already have the technology to do so. Why they don't use it, I'm not entirely sure. But they absolutely can. And you as an individual, you may not get a lot of opportunities to help. And this day without Twitch is going to be a little bit of help. But the biggest help you as an individual have is to hurt Amazon monetarily and try and and the second one, if you see somewhere that this hate is starting, don't even intervene aggressively. Just find out what their goal is and talk to them. Not at them, not around them, just to them. And you might just find out that they will stop. I mean, it won't happen most of the time. But when you tactfully and kindly speak to someone, and you find out what they want and why they're doing what they're doing to get there, well, you change lives. I mean, that's a point I've been meaning to make for a long time, too. Don't outwardly hate your enemies. Instead, find out why they do what they do. And then talk to them about it. Don't tell them to stop unless you really, really find an opportunity you think would make sense for it. Because bad people don't take well to just being told, no, stop it. But let them figure that out on their own. And that's the most powerful, consistent way. And if you want to influence Amazon and Twitch, hurt them monetarily. I mean, I've been saying Amazon and Twitch. One thing I don't know that makes this kind of difficult is how much money is shared between Amazon and Twitch. And I don't know if we'll ever know that specifically. One of the points I made earlier is that Twitch has very little support. Like, if someone gets into your Twitch account and buys $3,000 worth of bits, you'll never see that money again. And it'll take you months just to talk to someone who will tell you that you'll never see that money again. But that's not true of other things Amazon does. So if their help is that inconsistent, maybe their money's still siloed. I don't know for certain. It'd be nice to know. Then we could find out what particularly matters more to Twitch and Amazon. But I guess we won't for a while. But whatever the case is, if you want a company to listen, you do it with money. And that doesn't mean donating to them and whispering in their ears. That's how you deal with politicians. For a company, you reduce the amount of money they're making by reducing your interaction with them, or by doing something that costs them money. Heck, here's a fun insider business fact. If you hate a company for, I hope, a very legitimate reason, like if they have caused you a lot of individual distress, duress, problems, etc., if you want to hurt them, tie up their support. Not physically. Most people working customer support really enjoy that kind of thing. No. Like, waste the time of their support staff. Because the hours are one of the biggest costs for any company is labor. And the more labor they have to pay for, the more it costs them. And I don't mean harass. No. Don't harass people. That's why all of this is bad in the first place. What I mean is take the time to make requests that their support staff will help you with. Like, for instance, if you do business with a bank that you don't particularly like, but you do business with them because that's where your money is right now, whatever. And let's say that bank decides to do something particularly evil. I don't know. Let's say they start a factory where they harvest koala organs or something like that. Something just you can't stand. If you move all your money out of that bank, you're not costing them a thing because the interest didn't matter. But if you decide, all right, from now on, instead of using an ATM, I will always go to their tellers. And whenever there is any disputed transaction, I'm not going to go online and self-serve. I'm going to call their support phone line. If you commit to that, the amount of monetary stress you put on that company is enormous. And easy for them to track as a whole, but not for you as an individual. Now, coming back to one of the original points, Twitch itself doesn't have a lot of support staff. But there are other things that cost their labor. For instance, if you're an affiliate or partner, every time you submit a new emote, it has to get approved. Perhaps you could just keep submitting small revisions to your emotes. Heck, maybe even just a few pixels off each time. You're just, you're cleaning it up. And it seems like really earnest things. And hey, maybe it's even a good thing for you to do. Your emotes could be completely out of date. You are taking their time and money by doing that. And you're not hurting individual employees because, that's their job. You're not hurting them more than what their normal job is already hurting them. Amazon working conditions can be interesting to talk about. Let's get this alchemist here. So yeah, that's my general advice. If you want to influence a company, waste their money. And in many parts of a company, time is money, so waste their time. Taking a day off from watching Twitch streams isn't really either of those, though. Now, if you're a Twitch streamer who collects donations, bits, subscriptions, and so forth, yeah, take the day off. You taking the day off costs them more money than they would have to pay to keep you up online. But as a viewer, you can waste their money by wasting their time. Which I'll admit, it took me a little while to get to that point. I'm surprised I did not write that down and try to bring that up earlier. It is very important. To influence a company, influence the money. To influence the money, waste their money. Or their time. Or both. Hello, rspace1232. Don't recognize you from before, so welcome to the chat. I've spent my whole stream so far patting myself on the back for being a good programmer, but also for ripping on Twitch, because today is a day to do that. If you're just tuning in, the short version is, if you want to affect a company, affect their money. I'm reducing their money by streaming today because I don't make any money. But any individual user, you can waste their time to waste their money. And of course, please remember to respect individual streamers, especially those who get a lot of hate for no good reasons. Race, color, religion, etc. Be nice to the people. Harassment is not cool. That's basically why I've spent my last 2 hours iterating. Set this guy to strong. Oh, those are pop-tastic. Ooh, I do want... Here we go. And have this guy set target. You know what? Here, actually. Oh, and another important point. It can seem like things you do have no effect on a company. Like, at all. But it's very important to remember, the bigger the company, the longer it takes for them to accomplish anything. Heck, picking on Activision again. They were sued recently for discrimination, harassment, and just general really poor treatment of women and people of color. And that's a multi-million-dollar lawsuit from a state agency, and that still took them days to respond to, let alone do anything about. And a lawsuit like that is literally the biggest influence anyone can ever have on a company, because you're legally required to respond and do something about it. So, a big company like Amazon owning Twitch, we're not going to see any fruits from this day off of Twitch for a while. I would say at minimum 2 weeks, depending on the amount of impact it had. So if you check out gaming news tomorrow, and the headlines are Amazon doesn't respond to a day off Twitch or something like that, don't get discouraged. That's definitely a point I should have brought up before. It's the rule of inertia, I believe. When you're a big company, it takes a big amount of effort to accomplish even a small change. Boomerang that follows a straight path instead of curved. Curved would be better for a boomerang. Whatever there. There was something else I wanted to add to that I'm trying to think of. I mean, definitely don't harass people based on sex, color, orientation, and other characteristics that are part of their, well, character. But also, and I don't know if this part is true, so if I am incorrect, if I am myself being a problem by saying this, please feel free to correct me. Don't bring a lot of attention to these characteristics unprompted. Absolutely do not go to someone and go, hey, thank you for being black. It's not terribly diplomatic. Or probably even useful in any way. If I'm wrong about that, or there's a lot more nuance, I apologize, I'm wrong. As a whole, though, I would say support people who are hurting the same way you would support people who are not. And that is with honesty, kindness, and not positive reinforcement, because that sounds like you're dealing with a child or a small dog, but in the sense of positivity, you know, send them a pog, not a middle finger. Engage in the chat, not enrage. Which is a rhyme I was not prepared for until about 2 seconds before it spewed out of my mouth. Heck, let's keep this going. Some of these are getting through. What do I want to do about that? Oh, put this guy here, pop him on triple dart duty. And maybe this guy here. Same thing. Let's roll. I know this loop on the right is technically the second loop, but you know, better Nate than Lever. You know what? Let's get the Red Baron out here. Nice. I'll tell you what I'm going to do as a viewer on Twitch, though. I'm going to go out of my way and try out a few other streams someday. Probably Friday. And find out who's good for raiding and who could use a little extra influence. Because from what I can tell, big name minority streamers get harassed, and so do smaller ones. The difference is, smaller ones don't really have much to fight back with. So, I think I might go looking for smaller streamers in the coming days. That way I know some nice raid targets. Because let me tell you, you find people watching this and who tune in to Maritime Gaming, you've all been wonderful people. And I thank you for being civil when you chat, not causing trouble, for being engaging, and for putting up with my lukewarm content. I mean, I'll admit I have days that are better than others. Heck, I don't know what today's gonna rank as. Great chat engagement, but I mean, I've been just sitting here ranting most of the time. And I think that just about all of you people, probably all of you in general, are good people who would absolutely show your support to other streamers who would really want it and need it. So I'm going to find some more people to raid in the coming days, weeks, etc. and encourage you people to visit them. That's what I'm going to do as a viewer and as a streamer. Find smaller marginalized and help them. See, that's the good edge of the double-edged sword that is tags. I, as a human being and not a robot, please ignore any beep boops, can go find people who could use some support. But I also appreciate which one of these just has them attack the front one? Pursuit. Perfect. I can't even remember what I was saying before I was thinking about helicopters. Because helicopters are neat. Nice. Where was I on that? Anyway, I'm going to find streamers who could use a bit more love and share what little love I've been getting with them. That's what I'm going to do as a viewer and as a streamer. And I hope that all of you as viewers and anyone else you know as viewers of Twitch streams will also go out and share some love. And I want to be clear on one thing, because this is something that can be taken out of context and can be ignored a lot. I don't want you to go out and find gay streams or streams with people of color or streams with women or what have you, marginalized streams, because people fall in those categories. I want you to find them because not a lot of people will give them opportunities off of the bat. And you don't have to like them. You don't have to come back day after day. You don't have to feel obligated or guilty or whatever excuse you're going to make about it. Just be willing to see them could make all the difference. And the worst thing that happens is you didn't like it and you move on. The best thing that happens is you find someone you really like. Life is kind of funny that way, where if you do something new, there are a lot fewer risks than you first expected. I mean, heck, shout out to anyone who found my stream. I don't even use that many tags or do anything particularly different. I hope anyone who found me was out there browsing already. And if you think I'm tolerable, cool. You found someone you like, you drop a follow, whatever. And if you don't like me, well, you move on, and you're not listening to what I'm saying right now. There's not really a downside. It's like the days of having cable TV and you'd go channel surfing to see if anything catches your eye, and you'd find a new show you like. Heck, fun fact, that's how I found one of my favorite sitcoms of all time. I was just dinking around tuning the TV. I found a scene from My Name is Earl. I know, not exactly a classy show. Well, it was clever. I think it was actually one of the smartest shows on TV, despite how dumb the characters were played as. But if I had just been committed to only watching one or two channels and not looking around, I would have never seen it, and I got some delights and some laughs with the time I spent watching My Name is Earl. Let's see here. You know what? I'm doing pretty good right now. I'll just let those go through. And these days, with so many options available, I can completely understand choice paralysis and not wanting to go look for new things. Heck, I am super guilty of that on my own time. But it could pay off big time. So if any of you are not the kind of person who goes out looking through Twitch to see what's good, take some time over the next few days and do it. Not particularly today, because a lot of people who are affected are probably taking the day off. But tomorrow, the next day, Labor Day weekend's coming up. Look around, see what's good, see what's interesting, or even just click haphazardly. You know, I'm feeling lucky next to the Google button. you might find something you love. And worst case scenario, you find a few minutes you weren't that happy. Or weren't that entertained. But you can still be proud of yourself for looking. Whew. I had a lot to say and not a lot of it was useful. But hey, I appreciate you fine folks stopping by to say hello and other things in chat. I appreciate the eyeballs. And I hope that if nothing else, I made you think. I'll be back officially on Friday on the Maritime Gaming channel, which is just twitch.tv/Maritime Gaming. I do a guest spot there every Friday. I might be visiting Shane's channel tomorrow, depending on how my schedule goes. I want to help him out in general with lots of stuff. So we'll see how that works out. And I'll be back on this channel on Saturday playing some Legend of Zelda. I took a day off from Zelda to do this whole ranty thing. I don't think I could have given my full attention to Zelda and made even close to coherent points at the same time. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it. You're all wonderful people. You haven't given me any reason to dislike you. Keep up the good work.